practice reading for ASMR. This will be not bonus, but special edition. The happiness of Christ, for the joy that was set before him. For God, Thomas Goodwin wrote that Christ's own joy, comfort, happiness, and glory are increased and enlarged by. Now how would you finish that sentence? There are various biblical ways to answer, and we should be aware. We should be beware a one-dimensional portrait of Christ that elevates one to the neglect of others. It would be true to say that Jesus rejoices when his disciples forsake all to follow him. It would be valid to see Christ rejoicing when believers' faithfulness in a little prepares them to be faithful over much. We can affirm that he rejoices in the way his Father reveals divine truths to the childlike rather than the intellectually impressive. But there is an equally biblical truth that is more easily sidelined in our thoughts of Christ. Christians intuitively know that it pleases Christ when we listen to him and obey him. But what if his very heart and joy are engaged in a new way and our foibles and failures? Goodwin completes his sentence like this: Christ's own joy, comfort, happiness, and glory are increased by his showing grace and mercy, and pardoning, relieving, and comforting his members here on earth. A compassionate doctor has traveled deep into the jungle to provide medical care to a primitive tribe afflicted with a contagious disease. He has had his medical equipment flown in. He has correctly diagnosed the problem, and the antibiotics are prepared and available. He is independently wealthy and has no need of any kind of financial compensation. But as he seeks to provide care, the afflicted refuse. They want to take care of themselves. They want to heal on their own terms. Finally, a few brave young men step forward to receive the care being freely provided. What does the doctor feel? Joy. His joy increases to the degree that the sick come to him for help and healing. A It's the whole reason he came. How much more if the diseased are not strangers, but his own family. So with us and so with Christ. He does not get flustered and frustrated when we come to him for fresh forgiveness, for renewed pardon with distress and need and emptiness. That's the whole point. It's what he came to heal. He went down into the horror of death and plunged out to the other side in order to provide a limitless supply of mercy and grace to his people. But there is a deeper point Goodwin is making here. Jesus doesn't want us to draw on his grace and mercy only because it vindicates his atoning work. He wants us to draw on his grace and mercy because it is who he is. He drew near to us in the incarnation so that his joy and ours could rise and fall together, his in giving mercy, ours in receiving it. Goodwin even goes on to argue that Christ gets more joy and comfort than we do when we come to him for help and mercy, in the same way that a loving husband gets more relief and comfort in his wife's healing than in his own. Christ brings into himself more comfort than it procures to them. When he sees our sins being placed under his own blood, reflecting on Christ as our heavenly mediator, that is, the one who clears away any reason for us to be unable to enjoy friendship with God, he writes, "The glory and happiness of Christ are enlarged and increased still as his members come to purchase his death more." Stop. The glory and happiness of Christ are enlarged and increased still as his members come to have the purchase of his death more and more laid forth upon them, so as when their sins are pardoned, their hearts more sanctified, and their spirits comforted, then comes he to see the fruit of his labor, and is comforted thereby, for he is more glorified by it. Yea, he is much more pleased and rejoiced in this than themselves can be. And this keeps up in his heart his care and love unto his children here below, to water and refresh them in every moment. Translation: when you come to Christ for mercy and love and help in your anguish and perplexity and sinfulness, you are going with the flow of his own deepest wishes, not against them. We tend to think that when we approach Jesus for help and our need of mercy amid our sins, we somehow detract him from him, lessen him, impoverish him. Goodwin argues otherwise. Jesus surprises us in exercising acts of grace from his continual doing good unto and for his members, from his filling them with the all mercy, grace, comfort, and felicity, himself becoming yet more full by filling them. As truly God, Christ cannot become more full. He shares in his Father's immortal, eternal, unchangeable fullness. Yet as truly man, Christ's heart is not drained by our coming to him. His heart is filled up all the more by our coming to him. To put it another way around, when we hold back, lurking in the shadows, fearful and failing, we miss out not only on our own increased comfort, but on Christ's increased comfort. He lives for this. This is what he loves to do. His joy and ours rise and fall together. So tomorrow will be the happiness of Christ. Dear God, please help us to be better people, to serve you with generous hearts, to look past each other's faults and failings, to practice the skill that you've given me this week, especially myself. When you experience difficulty or failure, speak to yourself in a compassionate, comforting way. Replace self-criticism with supportive statements. It's okay to make mistakes. I'm doing my best. Practice self-affirmations, reminding yourself of your strengths and positive qualities. I love you guys. Take care of yourself and each other. Courage. And I will see you tomorrow. I have different color to remind me to stay away from my cuticles, if you're wondering. So, here's our nightly reading. So thank you for sharing this time with me. And I hope you have a blessed night, and I will see you tomorrow, probably for a mid to late morning coffee. Bye.